we have piles and piles of information to prove that Eden was a natural location. First of all, let me start with the words that were spoken, said to have been spoken by God in the Torah. The words God was said to have spoken when he emerged from the abyss, and then he said, let the, sweep the water, to say sweep the waters together, tie the waters together. The words he used, sweep the waters together, in the Torah are Quava. And the words he used for tie them together are kef. In my place, in Alu, to sweep water is one minute. So it says sweep them together, and the Torah says quava. Then God said, tie them together, tie the waters above the earth, tie them together. He said, kef, that's kefa, tie them. In Hebrew, it's kefa, in the Torah, it's kefa. And then God said, and then the Torah says that, and the word which the Torah uses for command, because the Torah is written in vernacular Hebrew. So Torah says God commanded, and that command is hamara. Hamara, God's command, hamara. What is hamara in Hebrew? But it's to command with the thundering voice. Hamara. Yeah, hammer. Hamara. Hamara. That's what you say. You might just say hamara, hamara. That is the same thing. Then he said, when he asked God, when God said, when he asked, what is your name? God said, Ayahu. Anyahu, the sun. Ayahu, that is the sun in Hebrew. And in Hebrew, God said his name is Ayahu. And then, I know why this thing is not coming up. I don't want me to quote it completely. When God said, let it be allowed to be. Let it be allowed to be. He said, Haya over in Torah. In Hebrew, let it be allowed to be is Haya over. In my dialect, in our dialect, we distinguish between the migrants and the autochthones. The autochthones speak the Okiwe or Low dialect. In fact, the Wuku is made up of two groups of people, the autochthones and the migrants. The Wuku people speak the same way the Okiwe and other people speak. Hayawar is let it be allowed to be. That's how God created by allowing. He didn't say, be there. He said, let it be. But see, the male God was talking to the female God, the water. And the water would let things be. Let it be allowed to be higher or. And then, after something had come out, had created itself and come out, God would say, Tohuwa, in the Torah, it is good. In Igbo, Otuobo, is it as it should be. It is as it should be, which means God did not judge creation, he was just affirming the beingness of what had come out of the act of creation. And that river Nun is actually the mouth of the river Niger that flows into the Atlantic. It's called Nun. Niger is called Nun in the Central Delta. In Bayelsa, Niger is called Nun there. So that coincidence, you add it. And then the river, they said that Eden was located in a place where there was a river that had two forks, that was a confluence. And they said one was called Barat and the other was called if you study Greek mythology, Greek history, you see a lot of our history, our ancient history there, because we found out that the people who moved from Egypt who moved from Egypt to the Middle East to start the civilizations of the Middle East were people who were originally living in the civilization that we had down here in Nigeria. When that civilization was destroyed, they moved up to Egypt. From Egypt, they now began to go around the world with their civilization. Even the Sumerians, we tracked Sumerians, and we found that the ancient Sumerian culture was just the same as Nigerian culture. They did everything the way we build houses, the way we did, we worship their gods, the little shrines, the way our ancestors did. They even used the ungo and oil to make soap and all that. And we also looked at their language. It's originated, the Sumerian language is from Akkadian. We looked at the Akkadian. Akkadian is to a large extent Igbo. We went back to Canaan. Canaan is to a large extent Igbo. That brings me to Soka. You don't know that here in this town, you don't know that here in this town, by 1932, the British found step pyramids in Nsukka, a place called Abaja in Sudan, were step pyramids that they found here. They destroyed them. No record anywhere. But the archaeologists, the anthropologist, G.I. Jones, who took the photographs of the pyramids, preserved his record. And the Nigerian lady who was studying at Bournemouth University in Britain saw those pictures in the archive and put them on the internet. Today, people can go on the internet to see ancient Igbo step pyramids. There were 10 of them, and that was part of Nsukka history. But another aspect of Nsukka history, which I find intriguing, which we are still studying, is the issue of Kana. The Ka in Nsukka. The Ka in Nsukka has something to do with the person called Kana. If you go to records, the pyramid records in Edfu in Egypt, you will find a writing on the grave, in the tomb in the pyramid, that talks about a man called Roya Keno. Roya Keno. Keno was a friend of the king of Egypt called Ra, whose grandson was called Horus. In the war between Seth and Osiris, two brothers, in that war which brought about the death of Osiris, the son of Osiris, Horus, decided to run away. His mother actually ran away, went to the forest and bore this child. And after bearing this child, she raised him in the forest so that Seth would not know she had a child. She raised him to revenge the death of his father. And Horus set up a metal foundry where he forged weapons of war. And he was the first person to arm human beings in the War of the Gods. That metal foundry, he did it with the aid of the man whom he called Keno. It was the help that Keno gave to Horus in that war that earned him the title Royal Keno from that day. I'm repeating what is in the Edfu pyramid text. That band was from a region called Wawa. The Edfu text say that Kenu was from a region called Wawa. And Kenu was a metallurgist. And it was this same Kenu, remember, who had aided Eri when he arrived in mythology. He came here and everyone was full of water, and he brought a smith. You know the story in mythology? The smith, they said the Oka, see the car again, said the Oka smith helped him to, use his craft to dry up the land. Now the Oka smith, the Keno is the Canaan. We track that to Canaan because when this is happening is 10,000 BC. This is the same time because actually Osiris, we found that Osiris was Ken, the person who founded Egypt, the Ken. And that Ken is the same Ham. And the Ham is the father of Canaan. So Osiris, Ken,